Starbucks is losing in China. Why? How bad is it? After watching this video until the end, you're gonna understand which business to avoid. If you're investing in the stock market, you're gonna know the secrets to successful stock investing.
Starbucks is reportedly looking to exit China amid falling market share and stiff competition from low-cost domestic rivals.
And Tyson reports that the Seattle-based coffee chain has held talks with more than a dozen potential buyers, marking a shift from its earlier efforts to secure a strategic partner in China. Rumors of a potential sale surfaced last week, and Starbucks issued a denial. Its China operations make up roughly 9% of its global revenue.
Starbucks' dominance in China's coffee market has fallen sharply in the last few years, with local coffee chains such as Luckin chipping away at its share of the $22 billion industry. Euromonitor says Starbucks' market share fell to 14% last year from a high of 42% in 2017, despite heavy investment. The competition.
China revenue is about 9% of total revenue, and it's because of the stiff competitions from Luckin and Coty. China market share has been falling, the Starbucks, and US 22 billion market, China's coffee markets, and Starbucks was the one who started coffee drinking habit in Chinese consumers. See, it's pretty serious. And Starbucks used to have 40% market share right here. Now it's down to 14%. That's over 20% market share fall. So over half. They lost half of their market share from 2015 to 2024. So within 9 years, they lost their market share. That's very, very serious. When company loses market share, they need to cut their prices. That's the only way to survive. One of the main reasons why companies can keep the same price or increase the price is because they have pricing power. They can only have pricing power if they have very, very big, huge market share. Their products have to be very, very differentiated, and consumer, they must really love the products. Nowhere else they can find the same products or services. Then, whenever you launch a new product or service, people are lining up to buy. So those companies really have very big moat and very great pricing powers. So if you want to learn more about those companies, business and economy, and American businesses, Chinese businesses, subscribe to the channel.
High of 42% in 2017, despite heavy investment. The competition also forced the company to cut prices on some drinks, the first time it has done that since opening its first store in China back in 1999.
Wow, since the first store in 1999, the first time they had to cut prices. Wow, that's very, very serious. So who are Starbucks competitors, and how are they damaging Starbucks market share?
And CNA's Tanya Guan has more on the factors contributing to Starbucks' decline in China, including in Shanghai, where consumers are spoiled for choice when it comes to coffee.
It's quite.
If you see, they gotta look at the markets in Shanghai. Consumers are spoiled for choices. If you look at it, look at this. The Manna coffee is right next to Starbucks coffee. Look at this. If you can make the same quality or similar quality coffee at cheaper price and the same locations, hey, MBS is good. Then people gonna choose, cheaper options or maybe more choices. They may have more choices. Manna coffee basically is a literal translation from Chinese. Manna means polite, being polite, very good. respectful, stuff like that. So it's a direct translation of the Chinese to English. So that could be really, really steep. So, but there are some people who go to Starbucks for some unique reason. So that's probably one of the few reasons why Starbucks exists in China, but it may not be for long because they are thinking about selling their business, right? At the beginning, they thought about strategic partner. Now they are thinking about existing in China. So why? So what could be their next strategies and why consumers are choosing other coffee shops and what are their preferences? Let's look at that.
Undeniable that local rivals are undercutting Starbucks on price and convenience. Starbucks is also contenting with more folks in offices owning their own gourmet coffee machines, as well as other caffeine peddlers, such as tea chain like Hey Tea and Chagi. Now, I approached some caffeinated folks near the biggest Starbucks in China, and here's what they have to say about Starbucks.
It's way out of my price range. And I got a coffee machine on my table, so I made my own coffee, like 2 shots a day. It's really cheap for me and really convenient. And the only chance I go to Starbucks, I think, is that I go on a date.
There are so many brands or so many companies selling coffee here in China, and they are good. And also it depends on the price. Of course, if you offer seats and a nice environment, then if you charge higher price, okay. But definitely Luckin is very aggressive. I can see that price wise.
在上海的话，到处随处可见嘛，就比较方便。然后还有就是有的时候朋友聚会啊，或者说聊点事啊，就是星巴克会比较方便一些。
So you see, for good.
This is a very nice location. Starbucks really big. If you look at the building, see very, very huge Starbucks locations. And of course, they are conducting interview nearby Starbucks to get a good idea. And you know that the reason why they go to Starbucks is the first gentleman, the young guy, said it's for the date, right? Starbucks is considered premium coffee. So it means that, hey, if you are taking the girl out, you also don't want to be appear cheap, and you also don't want to spend a lot of money like restaurants. And you know what, Starbucks is very easy. Just go to Starbucks. So it's just like proper way for the date, quick and fast and above average price. That could also be impressive. And also the second gentleman, he probably choose Starbucks because of location. So first, Starbucks is premium, is considered good for the days. Second is because of location. The third gentleman, he said it's because of business meeting. Business meeting probably more appropriate, gathering, discuss the matters, Starbucks is everywhere. So in Shanghai, so it's easy for that. So yeah, so these are 3 differentiating factors, but these may not be so big, right? Not so big of the differentiating factor to gain market share. And also there are other factors that chip away Starbucks market share as well. Let's continue to look at them.
然后是啊，就是星巴克会比较方便一些。
So you see, for good coffee, the folks here have cheaper choices. But if they want a nice place to chit-chat over coffee, Starbucks still has a tiny niche over there. Even then, there are other independent cafes or small independent chains to contend with. So, which is why, despite having more stores, Starbucks revenue dropped from a peak of $3.7 billion to just $3 billion last year. According to the 2025 China Urban Coffee Report, China's coffee industry grew 18% last year. The average cup per person also grew from under 17 cups in 2023 to over 22 cups in 2024. The report estimates that this statistic could reach 30 cups per person this year. But if you compare that to the United States, well, according to the US National Coffee Association, the average consumption of coffee is a whopping 729 cups. So in a way, you could
Wow, you see, Chinese are used to drinking tea, not so much of coffee. So they used to drink 17 cups, then over 20 cups, then they are projected to be over to reach 30 cups per person a year this year. And of course, United States is over 700 cups. So how many cups of coffee do you drink a week? Comment down below.
The average consumption of coffee is a whopping 729 cups. So in a way, you could say there's quite a bit of ground and potential growth in China here, especially in the lower tier cities. The lower hanging fruits here in the first tier cities have all been plucked. In fact, you take our neighborhood, for example, just 10 minutes walk from our bureau, there are at least 8 Starbucks outlets, 8 Manner Coffee outlets, that's a Shanghai chain here, and 5 Luckin Coffee outlets. It just goes to show you how keen the competition is here in Shanghai. Lower
Wow, if you look at it, so many coffee shops within 10 minutes walk of their office. Like 8 Starbucks, 8 Manna Coffee, and 5 Luckin Coffee. Luckin Coffee is even competing on Starbucks in America. They are starting their shops, coffee shops in America. So at the end of the video, I'm going to look at 2 stock, Starbucks and Luckin, their stock chart, and see which has more potential to grow, and see if who could be the winner. And so the next strategy that Starbucks and other coffee companies in China is to penetrate into lower tier city. Now, first tier cities like Shanghai, Beijing is already saturated. There are so many coffee shops within 10 minutes walk. And of course, first tier city, they have more purchasing power. So the strategy will be to penetrate into lower tier city where there are not so many coffee shops yet. So if you are the first one, people see your shops everywhere. They remember your brand name. The lower city, as their economic grow, their wages, salary goes up, and they're gonna have dates and meetings at your coffee shops. You could gain market share that way. So let's see if Starbucks gonna be competing in lower tier city, or do they have a different strategy?
here to be the new battleground. As they become more developed, more people are adopting lifestyles from first-tier cities. While these cities offer virgin territory, they do have lower spending power that cannot compare with those of the first-tier cities. And therefore, while they have powered the growth of chains like Luckin, it's hard to see how Starbucks can chase that same growth given its price point and lower spending power of the smaller cities. Starbucks would have to consider whether its capital can be better spent elsewhere in the world, chasing higher margins.
Aha. Yeah, Starbucks could be pursuing the strategy of chasing after higher margins everywhere else rather than just expanding in China and get a lower margins, because it's very, very tough to compete with Chinese brands like Luckin or Manna Coffee. That's pretty serious. So which coffee have you tried before? Have you tried Manna or have you tried Luckin? Comment down below. Let's look at stock. Year to date, Starbucks only up 2.46%. Luckin is up 42.9%. Look at that. Look at that. So if you invested $1,000 at the beginning of a year in Luckin Coffee, so practically you are getting $1,420 back. Right, $1,430 back. So $430 will be your profit, right? They have a market share of 10.91 billion. Their market cap of 10.91 billion. Starbucks is already big, 107 billion. So Luckin is only 1/10 of the Starbucks. So Luckin has room to grow, right? Starbucks is 10 times bigger, and they also give dividend. I don't really care about dividend. The first thing that I'm going to look at is, hey, does it beat S&P 500? No, Starbucks doesn't beat S&P 500. S&P 500 is now over 100. S&P 500 over the past 5 years. If you look at S&P 500, 5-year is 97.17%. So if it doesn't beat S&P 500, I'm not interested. So my first criteria, Starbucks could not meet. My second criteria will be, has this business been around for at least 10 years? Because I want to see ups and downs, how they manage to survive and thrive during the business cycle, ups and downs. Yeah, it has been around since 1971. It has been a long time. They totally passed my second criteria. My third criteria will be, has it been a public company for at least 5 years? Yes, absolutely yes. The fourth criteria, do I like this business? No, I don't like coffee business. I don't like restaurants. I don't like airlines, because they don't have so much of pricing powers. Pricing power, no, not so much. And their competition can easily replace get the market share. So no, so that's why I'm not going to invest into this in the industry. Of course, let's look at Luckin. 1 year, it's up 92%. See, it's totally beat S&P 500 within 1 year. 5 years, absolutely. 10 times your money from $3.72 to $38. Look at it, more than 10 times. So it's now 5-year high. All-time high, it used to hit $50 just before COVID. Almost destroyed the coffee chain. It dropped to $1 plus. But it always survived. Okay, so that's something that I appreciate. Hey, this business could survive COVID, because during the COVID time you have to close. Has this been around for at least 10 years? No, it started in October 2017. It's only 8 years. So only 2 more years left before I interested in investing for long term. Has it been a public company for at least 5 years? Yes. So do I like this business? Not coffee. So out of the 5 criteria, I don't even need to look at financial statement. The last criteria will be to look at financial statements. Starbucks, I think okay, financial statements. So out of the 5 criteria, Starbucks could not meet my 2 criteria. The type of business it is in, then S&P 500, it doesn't beat S&P 500. Lucky, it also doesn't meet my 2 criteria. The business has been around for at least less than 10 years, so no. And very importantly, I don't like coffee business, okay, it may be going up this time, but anybody can copy and replace Luckin or Starbucks. But for trading, yes, I like to see the uptrend. So this could be really good to use option trading, stock, call option, put option, advanced option. So I could use them. I don't need to invest in stocks to get profit. Now it's only $10 billion. Maybe if it could reach $50 billion, it could be 5 times the money, right? So I like to see how this performs in the States. If it could chip away Starbucks market share in the US, hey, this could be good news for this company. So which company do you think will succeed long term? Is it Starbucks or Luckin? Which company do you support? Do you support American business or do you support Chinese business? Comment down below. In investing success, very important is to choose only great companies with pricing powers, big market share, big economic moat. That's how I got over 100,000. Okay, and year to date, my portfolio is close to 50%. Of course, with just stock investing, it will be very hard to get this return. But if you also know stock investing, call option, put option, advanced option, day trading momentum stocks, hey, you could possibly get this result. Of course, this is not financial advice. Not everybody can get result. But if you want to learn more, you can go to Master Risk Stock Option Crypto and check out my playlist on stock investing, call option, put options, and advanced option. So always choose great companies that beat S&P 500, okay, that has at least 10 years of business experience. Now, track record. And there has been at least public company for at least 5 years. And you must know the industry very, very well, sector very well. Now, I don't like coffee at restaurant, but if you are a manager or a boss in Luckin company, then you know the business inside out, then yeah, you have a great knowledge that I don't have. Then you could invest in that business. So it's totally up to you. See, investing is only invest in something you know, something you specialize in, okay, something you believe in business. So that's how you succeed in stock investing. And very importantly, check their financial statements, balance sheet, if their revenues and profits are going up, their cash flow if they are going up. If you want to just start it out, you can click the link in the YouTube description and comment down below, open a stock trading account. You could possibly get free stocks if you use my link. If you want to reach out to me, there is a link as well in the YouTube description and comment down below. Share, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.